Hey Tigers, welcome to an extra special edition of Miss Nick's Math Lab. I am here with my special assistant teacher, Mr. Oliver. Say hi, Ollie. He's a little squirmy today. Hi. He is ready to help us get prepared for our Unit 2 exam, which is tomorrow. That's Wednesday. So I know you guys have the day off today, but please make sure you are using your time to get ready for this awesomely important test. So, if Ollie lets me have the camera, I'm going to go over some of the things that are going to be on your test tomorrow. So get your pencils ready, and we are going to review. Ollie, I need my lap, so you got to move. Go on. Alright. Someone is super excited about being in the video, so we're going to have to work around him as best we can. Thanks, Ollie. So, I was working on my own, teaching Ollie some division. And I was telling him that our steps to division are, say it with me if you remember it, divide, multiply, and subtract. Check our work, bring it down, then bring it on back. So one of the two topics on your test tomorrow is long division. So let's make sure we know how to use all these steps so we're ready to ace tomorrow's test. So we're going to practice this with a question like 3 divided into 572. Now, when we're doing a division problem like this, hopefully you can see my board, we have to start at the very beginning, first things first. So I start with division. I divide 3 divided into 5. So I have to ask myself, how many times can 3 fit into the number 5? Or 3 times what number, thanks Ollie, gets me as close to the number 5 as possible. So if I do 3 times 1, that's 3, that's pretty close. But if I do 3 times 2, that's 6, that's too big. So I need to make sure I don't go bigger than the number I'm dividing. And right now I am only dividing this number 5. So I'm going to ask myself, 3 times what? Well, my best fit is 3 times 1. Now I need to make sure that's the right number by multiplying it. So I multiply 3 times 1. That gives me 3. And now that I've multiplied, I need to make sure that I know what my remainder is. So I need to subtract. So 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 gives me 2. And to make sure I did that part right, I check my work. And I check it by making sure the 2 is smaller than the 3. 2 is smaller than my divisor, so I pass my check and I'm ready to move on to bring it down. I bring down the 7, and when I bring it on back, I come back up to my divide step. But now this time, I'm dividing the number 27 by 3. Oops, over here, 3. 27 divided by 3. So I need to now ask myself, 3 times what number gets me as close to 27 as I can get without being too big? So if I look at my numbers and I think about my multiplication facts, I know 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. 27 is 3 times 9. So I'm going to put the 9 up here, because that's pretty close. It's actually right on the money. So I multiply to make sure it works, even though in my head I already have an idea that it's the right fit. I check it with my math. 3 times 9 gives me 27. Now I need to subtract. 27 minus 27 is 0. Is 0 smaller than 3? It is. So now I can move on to bring it down. Now I have 3 digits this time, so I still have one more number to bring down, my 2. My 2 comes down, and now I am dividing 3 into 2. So I have to ask myself, how many times can 3 fit into the number 2? 3 times how many equals as close to 2 as possible without being bigger than 2. Unfortunately, if I think about it and I do 3 times 1, 3 times 1 gives me 3, which is already bigger than my 2. So I have to go with my only other option, which is 3 times 0. So I'm going to do 3 times 0. 3 times 0 gives me 0. If I subtract now, my next step, I get a remainder of 2. Now I'm supposed to bring it down, but there's no more numbers to bring down. So instead, I'm going to bring my remainder up and write it as R2. And there's my final answer, 190 remainder 2. But one of the important things we need to know for our test, and just for being able to rock long division all the time, is how to check our work. And that includes multiplication, the opposite of division. If we divide to solve a problem, we do the opposite to check it, which is we multiply. Now you can use this on a test. If you don't know the answer to a division problem, or you're not sure which one is the correct answer, you can check all of the possible choices with your multiplication and see which one fits. And this is how we're going to do it. When we're checking our work, we multiply our quotient by our divisor. And if it equals the number under the stage, under our division sign, we know we did our math correctly. So let's try that. We're going to do 3 times 90 remainder 2. I'm not going to use my remainder yet. I'm going to put that aside and save it for the end. But I am going to multiply 90 times 3. Now, this kind of division should be pretty easy by now since we've been rocking our double-digit and multi-digit division or multiplication, but let's do it together just to make sure. 0 times 3 is 0. 9 times 3 is 27. Oops. 27. And my answer I get is 270. But I was looking. Oh, Miss Nick caught her mistake. Okay, ready? This is what we're going to do if this happens on a test. 270 is super far off from 572. That's because Miss Nick got sloppy, and that's what we want to make sure we don't do tomorrow on the test. I covered my 1 up with my circle, so I forgot to put it as part of my quotient when I was checking my work. Silly mistakes. So now I have to go back. I made sure I included all my numbers. As soon as I saw my answer didn't make sense, I went back and I looked at the different pieces to see where I might have made my wrong turn. And I figured it out. I forgot the 1. So now I'm going to multiply again. 0 times 3 is 0. 9 times 3 is 27. The 7 goes down here. The 2 up here. 1 times 3 is 3. Plus my 2 in the top is 5. So I get 570. Pretty close. Not my answer yet, because I still have to include my remainder. Now in this problem, my remainder is 2. So if I'm checking my work, I multiply and then I add my remainder. So that gives me 572. And that is my final answer. Awesome, awesome, awesome job. Now I want you to pause the video, go back, rewatch this, and listen to the little tips I give you, because those are going to help make your job tomorrow a lot easier. While you do that, I'm going to erase my board, and we're next going to work on our factors and multiples. Those are the second group of topics on our assessment tomorrow. It's just long division and factors and multiples. So when we are doing factors and multiples, we have to remember our vocab. It's super important. So when we talk about a factor, that is the number that can be multiplied by another number to give us a multiple. So for example, if I'm thinking of the number 6, the factors that could build the number 6 by using multiplication would be 1 times 6, 2 times 3, and that's it. But depending on how big the number is and what kind of number it is, it can have anywhere from 2 factors to 10 factors and more. Who knows? So we have to always make sure we examine all of our options to identify all of those factors. Ollie's put it on a show for you guys. Alright, so our factors are the numbers that get multiplied together. So for example, 3 times 5 is 15. These two numbers here are my factors, 3 and 5. So I could say that 3 and 5 are factors of 15. And if I'm trying to factor the number 15, I'm going to do my rainbow method. 1 times 15. I can't divide 2 into 15 because it's not an even number. I can put 3 into 15. 3 times 5 equals 15. And those are my only factors for the number 15. I have 4 factors. If it has more than 2 factors, like this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 factors, then it is composite. That means it can be made up of more than just one multiplication question. If it's not a composite number, that means it can only have factors of 1 and that number itself. So those are our factors. If I show you this equation and I say, is 3 a factor of 15? Well, the answer is yes, because 3 can be multiplied by another number to equal 15. Now, if we turn that around and go backwards, we could also say that 15 is a multiple of 3. So let's look at an example of that. So we're going to use our same numbers, but this time we're talking about the multiples. And the multiple of 3 times 5 is 15. That's my multiple, meaning I multiplied my factors and that's what I got. So I could say 15 is a multiple of 3. I could also say 15 is a multiple of 5. If I asked you, give me the first 4 multiples of 4, well, it would be as easy as doing 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 4 times 3, 12. 4 times 4, 16. Those are my multiples. It's just the multiplication. Remember that word, and that's your clue. Multiples and multiplication. If I ask you which equation shows that 5 is a factor of 15 or that 15 is a multiple of 5, this is the equation you would recognize, because the numbers on the left side of the equal sign are our factors, and the answer on the other side is my multiple. So please review this. You all brought your notebooks home this week or yesterday so that you could review and study your notes, so please use those to practice. Go back, watch the other videos that I've posted this past unit so that you can be nice and prepared and come to class tomorrow well rested, ready to rock, and we will all do awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day off. Miss you guys. Can't wait to see you back in class tomorrow. Have a good afternoon. Bye, everybody.